Hi, this is Frank Simon with the rest of the news, and we have a very special guest this program. It's Mrs. Margie Montgomery from Right to Life. How are you?
I'm just great. How are you doing today, Dr. Simon?
There have been a lot of miracles in the pro-life movement, and one of them is right here on this. Of course, you're not going to be able to see it, but you can hear it. Let's play what happened in Frankfurt just about a month ago.
This sign, the ACLU of Kentucky will file a lawsuit. I urge you to vote no on Senate Bill 9.
I think I need to explain this a little. They're in a committee meeting in Frankfurt, and they're talking about the heartbeat bill, which says, hey, once the baby's heart starts beating, you're not supposed to kill it or pull its arms and legs off or anything. We're listening to a hearing, and this is the pro-abortion side. They're talking, they say, oh, if you pass this bill, the ACLU is going to put a lawsuit in and stop it. Okay, that's what she said.
My name is Nicole Stipp. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a tax-paying constituent. I create jobs, and I issue a lot of 1099s. And I have had an abortion. It didn't have a heartbeat. It didn't have a face. It didn't have feelings. It was a clump of cells. I can also promise you that had I been forced to see this pregnancy through, I would have done what women have done for all the decades people like you have been trying to stop abortions. I would have gone to any length, medically overseen or not, to end my pregnancy. I am just like the other 1 in 4 women that have had abortions. We do it because we cannot provide a life for children while we work for financial stability. We do it because we don't want to bear children and haven't yet had our IUDs or surgeries to prevent it. We do it because we're 18, have been sexually assaulted, and don't want to have a baby.
Thank you for your comments, and we will now yield to the sponsor of the bill.
Good morning, committee. I'm Castlin, the sponsor of Senate Bill 9, fetal heartbeat bill, and the first speaker is Abby Johnson. And Abby, if you can introduce yourself for the record.
Sure. My name is Abby Johnson. I worked at Planned Parenthood for 8 years. I was an abortion clinic director. And I listened to the testimony from the opposition of this bill, and I want to sort of go through some of that interesting testimony that we heard and many non-factual points that were made in that testimony. One thing that I kept hearing was that there's no exceptions in this bill for rape or incest. Let me be clear. Even if they were, the ACLU, even if there were, Planned Parenthood wouldn't support this bill. So the fact that they're even bringing that up is really intellectually dishonest. Abortion can never on its face be safe, because in order for an abortion to be deemed successful, an individual with a beating heart must die. That can never be safe for that individual human life. I want to talk specifically about first trimester abortion and what it looked like from a person who ran a Planned Parenthood abortion facility and was there for 8 years. First trimester abortions are by and large the most common abortion procedure we see in the United States. A transvaginal ultrasound is standard procedure inside of every National Abortion Federation clinic, which includes every Planned Parenthood clinic. That transvaginal ultrasound is done for primarily one reason: to determine how far along the woman is in her pregnancy so that we knew how much to charge her for the abortion. After the ultrasound is performed, the ultrasound machine is rolled away. The doctor comes in, who, by the way, has no conversation with the woman before the abortion. The fact that many people say abortion should be a decision made between a woman and her doctor is laughable. There is never a time where the abortion doctor goes in, sits down with the woman, and goes over risk, alternatives, and benefits to abortion. It does not happen. If the doctor starts performing the abortion, he's going to insert into the woman's uterus, into the cervix, metal dilation rods, graduated metal dilation rods. He's going to dilate the cervix enough so that he can insert something called a suction cannula. That cannula looks like a straw. It is graduated. It gets bigger depending on how big the baby is in the womb, so that the head will be able to fit through that suction cannula. He's going to insert that suction probe inside of the woman's uterus. Ultrasound guidance is not used. That is not the standard protocol inside of National Abortion Federation or Planned Parenthood clinics. He's going to take that probe and he's going to blindly poke around inside the woman's uterus until he thinks he has enough blood and tissue in a glass jar. That glass jar is going to go into a lab called the POC lab. POC in the medical community stands for products of conception. The products of conception is, of course, the baby. But you can't say baby inside of the abortion clinic. So we said POC or POC, or if the staff was feeling funny, they would say that it stood for parts of children. After all the parts were accounted for, the POC lab technician would dump everything out into a glass baking dish that sat on top of an X-ray light box, and she would reassemble the parts of the baby. Please understand me. I'm talking about first trimester abortion. Yes, there are parts. Yes, they must be reassembled. The baby is fully formed. Every internal organ is formed by 12 weeks gestation. So yes, there are parts, even earlier than 12 weeks. Once all the parts are reassembled, that POC tech will take everything, dump it into a biohazard Ziploc sort of bag, and those bags will go into a freezer in the POC lab that the staff jokingly called the nursery. And once a week, a biohazard medical waste company like Stericycle, will come into the facility and they will pick up all the red bags of babies where they are taken to their facility to be incinerated. If the abortion facility decides they don't want to just put them in their industrial size garbage disposal and grind them up and put them into the water waste treatment. That is first trimester abortion. We have already heard the testimonies from the opposition calling women who are pregnant person, because now we live in a time where people say it is not just women who get pregnant. Now apparently men can get pregnant. And that shows you just how detached from science the pro-choice side is on this issue. Fact, only women get pregnant. You gotta have lady parts to have a baby. That's science. Science also tells us that from the moment of conception, unique and individual and unrepeatable DNA is formed. That DNA is human. Never in the history of the world has a woman ever delivered a cat or a dog or any other species other than human. That's science. Our history tells us time and time again that it is unjust to take the life of an innocent human being. It was unjust to dehumanize an entire segment of people when we were working to abolish slavery. It was unjust to dehumanize an entire group of Jewish people in the Holocaust. But those two examples that I just gave you only exist because our society was willing to turn a blind eye, look a human person in the face and say, that is not a human being. That is not scientific. Now we are living in such depravity that there are people, like the people that oppose this bill, that are willing to say, I know it's a human being. I know it has a heartbeat. I know there is life there. And I know it is innocent. And I'm willing to kill it. We have sunk to a new low in our society. And it is time for us to rectify what we have done. So if you are a person here who has had an abortion, I encourage you to seek healing, because abortion is not normal. Taking the life of an innocent human being that is your own flesh and blood and your own DNA, it's not normal. And there are healing resources available. And to the people in here who work in the abortion industry, I encourage you to seek healing from a ministry called And Then There Were None. We can get you out of the industry and we can get you into a line of work that you can actually be proud of. And to the ACLU, I can say affirmatively, we look forward to your lawsuit.
The bill is passed. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, Margie, what did you make of that?
I thought it was just great, just what everyone needed to hear. Far and wide, they need to hear.
It says, I know it's human, I know it's alive, I know it's innocent, and I'm going to kill it anyway.
How can people be like that? How can they
Unbelievable.
make such terrible statements?
I just saw this movie. They brought the book, Unplanned. Can you hold it up in front of the camera? Closer, closer. That's the book.
It really is.
Abby Johnson that we just heard on the tape, I think she's going to eliminate abortion in this country. What do you think?
Well, I think she's already electrified those that have seen it. People are talking about it. I like what she says. She was one of the chief people at Planned Parenthood. And she was asked one day to come in and help the abortionists with the abortion. She had never been in there before. She was working outside in the reception area. So she said she took the ultrasound probe in her hand, and I could not have imagined how the next 10 minutes would shake the foundation of my values and change the course of my life. And you can see this on the film.
Absolutely.
She takes it and she's looking on the screen. After this happens, she leaves the room and she goes into the ladies' room and she vomits forcibly in there. She couldn't believe what she had seen. The story goes on. And of course, she had been doing this type of work. She believed in what Planned Parenthood was doing. But then in actuality, she actually went into the room and saw the abortions and what he was doing, killing this innocent baby girl. She couldn't believe what was going on. And so outside the abortion mill were people who were pro-life. There was a big fence there. And they tried to talk to the people out there and say, what we're doing is all right. There's nothing wrong with it. These women can't carry their babies. They have problems in their life.
Yeah.
Well, the other people, the good people, the pro-life people, always answered lovingly. We said, well, let us talk to you a few minutes. Let us show you some pictures of the developing baby, and you'll change your mind. So that's what comes out in the film. And that has just torn the United States apart. She has a dramatic, true story, and the fact that she worked in a high position showed how important it is to get the facts to people. And I think even though we have shown pictures of aborted babies since 1970, Dr. Simon, even some states before that, it never had the impact that this did, because people saw on the screen of the movie theater what abortion was.
And the baby's moving. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Here's the baby. He's trying to get away from that probe that's pulling his leg off, pulling his arm off. It's unbelievable.
It really is. I know that the number of theaters that started showing it in the beginning was only about, I think 600. It's a feature film now, taking the stand against abortion. It's doubled its earnings, coming in at 5th place in the nation, 5th place with a $6.1 million opening, despite previous industry predictions from 2 million to 3 million for the open weekend. Instead of 2 million to 3 million, it went to 6 million. The film's distributors called Pure Fix. So now they've added an additional 600 screens, 600 more.
Wow.
Bringing the total number to 1,700 screens after the film earned a rare A+ rating from CinemaScore. We are truly gratified and humbled. We are so pleased that the American people have responded the way that they have. We are happy for the success of the film. And it's still playing. Anybody that's interested in seeing it, see if it's at their theater, what theater it is, and spread the word. We hope that those on both sides of the debate will see Unplanned and begin to have their own dialogue. This film can be that spark to bring more hearts and minds to understand the value of human life. One of the founder of My Pillow, some of you may have seen this on TV, he has partially financed this. And he tells the story about Abby Johnson, the former Planned Parenthood clinic director you just heard on there, as she testified in Frankfort, Kentucky. And she became pro-life after these experiences. The film was released nationally on 1,000 screens on Friday. The man also noticed that by Saturday morning, Unplanned trailer had 1.7 million views on YouTube.
Wow.
And received a 93% positive audience score on a movie review site. Don't like the name. It's called Rotten Potatoes. But this certainly isn't rotten potatoes, telling the gosh awful truth.
I saw that. I think just about everyone I know has seen it. Talking to a lot of people right now, and if you have not seen this movie, you owe it to yourself to get in there tonight and see it, because I don't know how long it's going to be playing, but like you say, it was just 3 days at first, and now they've extended it to a week or so, but it is probably one of the most important movies ever made.
Some of the people were still sitting in their seats when the film was over, talking to each other. A man came in our office the other day. He wanted to know what kind of work. He was a repairman. We did. And so we told him, and he said, "What? You mean they're killing babies after they're born? Because that wasn't being done at the time this film was made." Maybe it was, but it didn't read the newsprint. And we have to beg for every inch of space we can ever get. Media
is against life, against America. It's against everything decent. We're going to be running out of time, but this book is fantastic, and it's called Unplanned. I showed it to you before. You need to see the movie Gosnell. This
Absolutely.
is another unbelievable movie. These two movies are earth-shaking, and if you haven't seen them, these are the best movies ever made. Here's another one. Can you hold that up for him? This is Gosnell.
He is the largest serial killer in the United States.
Unbelievable.
Herman Gosnell. Right now, he's serving his time, which we hope are many, many years, in prison in Philadelphia, because it was distributed the film to some 671 theaters across the country on October 12th. Then it was talked about, and more theaters were interested in showing it. These two people that are journalists, one of them is called Anne McElhenney, and her husband, Phelan. They're two people from Ireland, but they are journalists. They came here and they did some investigations. I know one person that saw the movie 3 times. He said every viewing triggered deep, long-lasting emotion that only increased each viewing. He said when he saw the movie for the second time, he found the end credits cathartic crescendo to a truly compelling storyline. It has photographs of Gosnell's disastrous clinic and him nonchalantly playing the piano at his home while investigators collected reams of tampered evidence against him. And where is the evidence? Well, it was in jars, not only on the first floor, but on the second floor, even the third floor. The place was a disgrace. It was filthy dirty. Blood was on the sheets. Women were not taken care of. Blood was on the floor. One of the babies, they called him Baby Boy A, he was 32-week-old newborn. That's 32. When he was 32 weeks. He said the neck, Gosnell, slit during a born-alive, botched abortion. He probably wouldn't be serving a life prison sentence today if these two journalists hadn't come in, taken pictures, writing it all down. Well, only recently, the person who went to see this 3 times discovered online all 281 pages of the grand jury report in the Gosnell trial. It is a most fascinating read, and he highly recommends, whether you've seen the Gosnell movie or not, or if you haven't seen it on DVD. This is an important film. Yes, it's horrible to look at, but it's telling the truth. Many times you cannot get the truth looking at the newspaper or reading a magazine.
That's right.
But here we have people that went out and tried as hard as they could. Then, when they brought in some of the police people, the police were very cooperative. It's just that when they saw this before, it hadn't been reported. It hadn't reported to the governor, state of Pennsylvania. Anne McElhenney says the Gosnell movie was incredibly successful, even with its limited release. Please don't miss this, and don't hesitate to get the book. If you don't have it in your library, and it should be in your library, call the Free Public Library in your city and ask for it. When demand is there, when people want to see and hear the truth, the library people will get it. but you have to create a demand. They're not going to go out on their own and spend, even though it's the public's money, they still don't put in the truth that they should.
Now, these two movies, Unplanned and Gosnell, are life-changing movies. Did I say that right?
You said it right. And boy, we've waited a long time, Dr. Simon.
A long time.
Remember, it was 1970 and 71 that in my basement.
I remember.
You came over and we had lists of names of doctors throughout the entire country, put together a good letter that was signed by a group of doctors, not only in Louisville, Kentucky, but in Lexington, in Bowling Green, in Covington. And these doctors wrote and they said, we need to organize. We need to get together and spread the word, because if we don't do it, who will? And this is what happened. We sent the letter out, and your Kentucky Doctors for Life started.
And now there are over 1,000 pro-life doctors on the pro-life list. Their total number of doctors is about 10,000. So it's about 1 out of 10 that have signed the dotted line and says, I'm against killing babies.
And who wouldn't be? Anybody that is normal would never go near doing anything like that. The little precious baby with its beating heart between 18 and 25 days, the brain waves traceable at 6.5 weeks. Well, we know how tiny a baby is at that point, and those lives should be protected.
You're doing a fantastic job. These movies are a miracle. In addition to that, we have these youth groups like Lila Rose, who is organizing pro-life groups all over the country in universities and college. Kristen Hawkins is another organizer of pro-life Students for Life. The pro-life movement is exploding, I would say.
You're exactly right about that. We had a rally in Louisville, Kentucky in early March. One of the members of Students for Life came, and she spoke after our pro-life governor, Matt Bevins, spoke. She gave a stirring talk. People were talking about it for quite a while, and we have an article on it in our newsletter. It brought a lot of pro-life supporters to Frankfort. We hope that you get information on this. Have one of the Students for Life come to your community. Easy to call, Kristen Hawkins, the Students for Life of America. And if you have trouble getting the phone number, just give Dr. Simon a call or Kentucky Right to Life a call, and we'll be happy to help you secure someone to talk to your group.
If one of our listeners wanted to make a donation to the pro-life movement, how would they get a hold of the website?
Well, our website is www.krla.org.
Kentucky Right to Life Association, KRLA.org. We're all in the same boat. We're all humans, and we've got to stand up for what's right. And this idea of killing babies is a bad deal.
And God has given us an opportunity, given us many opportunities. But now we feel the moment is right. The time is right. We're passing legislation. Never before have we passed 4 pro-life bills to protect human life. The closest we ever came was about 3. I looked it up the other day, but never 4. In fact, we almost had a 5th, but they ran out of time up there. But it'll come back. And let your legislators know that you are proud of them and to keep up the good work, because God wants us to do the right thing.
That's right.
Nobody has the right to do what is wrong. Killing babies is wrong.
If you want more information about this, or how to see the movies, how to get a hold of your state representative, how to get a hold of the governor. This governor is doing a tremendous job in the pro-life movement and in every way. Of course, the pro-abortion people hate it. We have a phone number, 895-5025, 895-5025. Cindy will be there shortly to answer that call. We'll give you Mrs. Montgomery's phone number. We'll give you these book titles and how to get a hold of them, how to see the movies. This is the time that we need to put everything else to one side and get involved in saving the lives of these innocent children.
And I don't know if we can say anything about political action or anything like this on this program.
We won't tell anybody.
Anyway, in order for the legislators that are pro-life and want to defend innocent human life, you have to have the right men and women in there, right? Well, the time to come, 2 times every year, the month of May, the month of November, there will be ballots that are out. And you can check the pro-life people, and let's get them in.
Get your name on the list of people that are pro-life. Just a wonderful time to get involved in the pro-life movement. Now, if you give that number a call, 895-5025.
And I've got a number too.
Okay, let's hear your number.
895-5959.
That's right.
502-895-5959. We work together on so many things. As we said, the time is now. Don't wait. Don't say you'll do it tomorrow.
Governor has done so much.
He's fearless, absolutely fearless.
And before, we didn't get any pro-life legislation passed.
Well, we got some passed, but nothing like 4 bills.
Unbelievable.
Right.
And that's why people hate him, is because he's strongly pro-life and stands up for the pro-life, innocent life people.
The media, unfortunately, has not been with us. So we have to struggle for everything that we put out in the mail or on YouTube or on Facebook and all those things. It's a lot of work, and we need a lot of help, and your help would be vital.
Our time is all out, so tune in again next week for the rest of the news. Come on, Miss Montgomery, that all goes out over this, all over the world.
I bet I looked awful with these things.
Hey, y'all have seen me. I had them on too. It's okay. You look fine.
You look fine.
Did I look professional?
You sure did.
And most of the time it turns out well. The one that really turned out well was Ryan Bomberg.
He was good.
Well,
we were there.
It turned out better than any.
Thing that all experts agree on is that at this stage, the fetus can't feel anything. Sorry to bother you, but they need an extra person in the back room.
I saw it. It was like it was twisting and fighting for its life.
We commend the souls of these hundreds of children. And Lord, we pray to end abortion.
I really appreciate what you've done for us. I'll not forget it.
22,000 abortions. How do I even comprehend that?
Rough day at the office.
You can say that.
What are you doing?
It's your dad and me. You are our baby from the moment of conception.
We are paying you to be a perfect instrument of corporate policy. We are an abortion provider.
I can't be a part of this anymore. Everything that they told us is a lie.
Don't underestimate the repercussions of this. You gotta be careful.
Rhonda, please don't do this! Rhonda!
Let me tell you what's gonna happen if you walk through that door.
Congratulations. You've made an enemy of one of the most powerful organizations on the planet.